I felt like something.
Okay, guys, I'm going to play this in a moment here. This is truly mind-blowing what this man, Jake Barber, experienced. On this channel, we cover the latest events that are rapidly shaping our world and tune into truth and spiritual wisdom to guide us on our journey. The views expressed in this videos are my personal opinions or AI-generated information from ChatGPT and should not be taken as factual statements or professional advice. But we're going to be talking about this man's incredible true story in his experience. Basically where he recovered, if you're at all into UAPs and UFOs, he recovered one of these crafts. He was working with the military. This was his job for some time, and locating and picking up these crafts. So the topic of today, real telepathy experience from a UFO whistleblower. All right, so is telepathy real? Well, we can talk more about that. There are, believe it or not, there are programs in the military and intelligence agencies specifically designed to help people and strengthen their psychic abilities. All right, but first off, let's listen to this man's incredible testimony that he's recently come out with. I believe this is something I found recently. An amazing UAP recovery story. So basically, he was on a mission to recover one of these UAPs on the top of somewhere out in the mountains. And so he was in a helicopter approaching the location. And what was fascinating is that he started to feel these crazy feelings and emotions of, he explains it kind of like love and sadness and happiness and joy, and these incredible feelings were starting to come over him, and it got more and more and more intense as he approached the location of this UAP. And then he had a very incredible, strange, weird telepathic experience. All right, so let's hear what he has to say here, shall we?
I felt like something had tuned in to me and my soul and was providing me some sense of guidance on what to do and how profound what I was doing was. And it was so overwhelming that I began to cry. And
so very, very fascinating. As he got closer and closer, the emotions got more and more and more intense. Let's hear a little bit more about his story here.
do I abort the mission? So I just did my best to focus on.
So after he picked up the craft, he was having these, he was really struggling internally with what was going on here, this kind of telepathic communication that he was experiencing. It was giving him all these different emotions. He said it felt like a goddess or something, like this divine goddess energy that was potentially communicating with him. And it was so overwhelming. And so he, typically he needed to stay very, very, very focused and very serious on his mission to, maneuver these mountains properly in his helicopter and to pick up this craft. And of course, to do it all safely and securely and not make any mistakes. And these incredible emotions that were coming over him was having him almost second guess himself, like what was going on? Was he going crazy? Was he going through like schizophrenic tendencies? Was something wrong with his mental state? And so he was kind of having this inner struggle here.
My particular cues when doing this type of work, and I got the load hooked up and I began flying away. And once it was just me and that object in between the pick and the drop site, there was about 20 miles in between, I felt like something was inside of me. I felt like I was possessed by the most beautiful spirit I'd ever been possessed by. And
was it loving?
It was loving. But there was a sense of sadness at the same time. And
had you ever had an experience like this before?
No, it was a very feminine energy. I'll tell you that. It felt like the spirit of God, but not in any masculine sense that I had ever felt. It was like, again, the feeling of my mother and my daughter and beauty And it wasn't like a soul, it was like a frequency that I was connected with.
All right, so you can decipher for yourself if this man's telling the truth. But from my point of view, I think he's telling the truth. I mean, it's very difficult to act those type of emotions. Um, you know, it clearly had a profound impact on this man when he was doing this very serious mission, and these emotions were flooding over him and making him cry. And I don't think he's the type of guy that typically cries. These type of military guys. And let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is this man telling the truth? What are the, what's the intuition? What are the vibes that you get from this guy? So he goes in a bit more detail here. Let's go to this one.
Thing to talk about, because what we're dealing with is either non-human intelligence, if we want to use those words or that phrase or that acronym. It's either that, or we need to dramatically redefine what we think human intelligence is.
Yeah, so either it is non-human intelligence, you could call it an ET, that was communicating with him telepathically. He said it even felt like it was inside of him, which is wild. He also mentioned, if you listen to the full interview, that there were other men on this mission as well, and they did not have this experience. And so this, whatever this energy was, this being, this frequency, chose him specifically. And I'll play the last clip here.
That object was also connecting to me through my mind.
Okay, that's just an extra added thing there. I was connecting with him through his mind telepathically. So for some reason, this object or this energy chose him to be communicating with him. And he even mentioned that it gave him the confidence to come out about this. He feels like there is this protection around him. Very interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now we're going to dive a bit deeper. We're going to look at ChatGPT here. What it has to say about this particular whistleblower, Jake Barber. Let's make sure that this is clear here. Okay, so Jake Barber's testimony. He's formerly a U.S. Air Force veteran. He has publicly disclosed his involvement in covert government program tasked with retrieving unidentified aerial phenomena. This is the interview that's mentioning here. So if you guys want to check it out on News Nation, go check out the full interview. He recounted encountering an alien and observing a non-human egg-shaped aircraft during his tenure. He mentioned that while some of the aircraft were top secret yet explainable, others appeared to be of alien origin. He expressed his willingness to testify under oath regarding his experiences. All right, so for those who are skeptical, maybe wait until he testifies under oath. In response to revelations, Representative Tim Burchett introduced the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act 3 months ago. Very interesting. I wonder what that entails. I have to look that up. This legislation aims to safeguard individuals who disclose information about federal funding used to study UAPs and ensuring that whistleblowers are protected from retaliation. Oh, let's look a little bit deeper into that. We could search, I'm typing in below, UAP Whistleblower Protection Act. What type of protection do they get? Do they get security to keep them from physical harm or death? All right, let's see what ChatGPT says about this. Like, what is actually entails in this Whistleblower Protection Act? Okay, this is very recent. Only in November this was passed. It aims to safeguard federal personnel who disclose the use of taxpayer funds, evaluating or researching unidentified UAP materials. The primary focus is to protect whistleblowers from professional retaliation, such as intimidation, threats, coercion, harassment, or discrimination, ensuring they can report misconduct without fear of adverse career consequences. So it sounds like it just protects their career. It protects against workplace retaliation. It does not explicitly address provisions from physical security or protection from harm. So that was what I was interested. Because from my research, a lot of these guys, some of these guys are mysteriously go bye-bye. You know what I'm saying. I'm not allowed to say the word on YouTube because YouTube's got some, some rules here. So I was wondering if there is physical protection from, physical harm. Doesn't sound like there is. But if a whistleblower faces credible threats to their physical safety, they may seek assistance from appropriate law enforcement agencies. Okay. So there is some level of protection. It's part of a broader legislative effort to enhance transparency and accountability regarding UAP activities. Because there are a lot more of these guys that want to come out, but it's very scary to do so. Because there's a lot of threats that come their way. Potentially from the agencies that they work for. Okay. In summary, yeah, so they get some protection, but not necessarily physical security measures. Representative Tim, okay. 3 months ago, during the House Oversight Committee hearing, multiple whistleblowers testified under the U.S. government's alleged concealment of a multi-decade program. Multiple decades. That means at least 30 years. It could be much more than 30 years. Focused on capturing UFOs. This has been kept so secret that, your average person doesn't even believe UFOs are real. But maybe that's changing. Maybe there's like 30%. Actually, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT right now. What percentage of the population believes UAPs and UFOs are real? Let's see what it says. What do you guys think? 20% of the population believes they're real? Oh, let's see. For some reason, it's not working. Let's try it again. Say maybe 20 to 30%? Or is it more like 50%? Let's see. Ooh, this says, according to the Gallup poll in 2021, 41% of Americans believe that some UFOs have been alien spacecraft visiting Earth from other planets or galaxies, an increase from 33% in 2019. Wow, 41%, not bad. Similarly, a poll found that 42% of Americans believe in UFOs. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's hundreds of millions of people. On the global scale, data is more limited. Could be 20% across 22 countries. Believe that aliens beings have come to Earth. Okay. Wow. So maybe 20 to 40%, something around there. Very interesting. Okay. Now the next thing I want to look at, I wanted to mention the psychic program. So if we go up here, I asked about the psychic programs in the military. So this Jake Barber talked about how there's these programs in the military where they handpick people based on their intuitive and psychic abilities, believe it or not. And I'll show you more information here. So we have Project Stargate. One of the most notable initiatives was Project Stargate, launched in the 1970s by the CIA. Let me just update. There we go. And later managed by Defense Intelligence Agency. The program focused on remote viewing, a practice where individuals attempt to perceive information about distant or unseen targets without the use of traditional senses. Researchers conducted experiments to determine if participants could accurately describe locations, objects, or activities from afar. Believe it or not, despite some reported successes, the program faced skepticism, blah, blah, blah. And then there's other programs as well. So let's look more into these. Go to this one. So here it is, Stargate Project. a U.S. Army unit. This is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. It goes a lot deeper than just this. This is just one example. But there's other code names that they have, Gondola, Wish, Stargate, all these different names. But remote viewing programs. If we look up remote viewing, it's the practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen object. Physicists Russell Targ and Harold Putoff, parapsychology researchers at Stanford Research Institute, are generally credited with coining the term remote viewing to distinguish it from closely related concept clairvoyance. All right, so you guys can do a lot more research on this, but this stuff is very real. I mean, especially if you listen to the men whistleblowers who are actually in these programs, how real this stuff really is. These psychic abilities, telekinesis, telepathy, claircognizance, it's mind-blowing. I mean, you can either believe it or not. You can do your own research, or you can be skeptical. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to change what you want to do. Then if we look at this example, key findings of the Grill Flame project are, look at this. This is actually directly from the Defense Intelligence Agency, right there. Boom. All right, so let's go to that page with the findings. Remote viewing is a real phenomenon and is not degraded by distance or shielding. Remote viewing ability can be improved by appropriate training procedures. It has potential for the intelligence applications. However, at this stage of development, descriptive content is more reliable than analytical content. A potential threat to NS exists from foreign achievements in psychoenergetics. In these two countries, this research is well-funded and receives high-level government backing. Wow. So many, many, many of the most powerful countries are doing this. All right, so be skeptical at your own risk. So I thought this was very, very interesting. What do you guys think about this man's story? Let's go back to him here.
That object was also connecting to me through my mind.
All right, what do you guys up, or is he telling the truth? Is this testimony real? All right, he also said that he will testify in court, so keep our eyes out for that. And so definitely subscribe if you want to hear more updates on these types of things, these incredible events that are shaping the future for humanity. Very exciting times. I believe we're in very incredible, exciting, great awakening of consciousness, you could say. And I think there's going to be a lot more coming. So stay tuned, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, more updates on UAPs, on current events, on Doge, all these incredible things that are going on. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Please support this channel. We're just getting started. All right, talk to you very soon.